What's going on, everybody? This is Brian Mazique, aka Unique Mazique, and this is Unanimous Decisions. We are talking to Edgar Berlanga. And how you doing today, Edgar?
I'm doing good, man.
All right, man. All right. I appreciate you taking the time. Obviously, you have a fight coming up. You're taking on Jonathan Gonzalez-Ortiz. Can you tell me a little bit about your opponent, what you know about him, your level of familiarity, all of that?
Um, he got a had a long, he had a long layoff. But right now, I know he's the type of fight I gotta go in there and I gotta, sweep the floor with him. You know, um, I just finished coming off a big fight, fighting a legend. So everybody knows what type of level he's on. And he's not on my level, so we don't overlook nobody. But I just gotta go out there and I gotta handle my business.
Yeah, yeah. Getting back, I would assume the goal maybe is getting back to the KO streak. Obviously, that's how your career started. That's how most people got windy. He was like, man, he's knocking everybody out. I think it was the first 17, not first 17 fights was knockouts.
Yeah.
So that obviously is a crazy streak. So if you mentioned the Canelo fight, obviously that was your last fight. And what I think is interesting is that you're actually taking even less time between this fight the Canelo fight than you took between the fight with McCrory going to Canelo. Because a lot of times you see people take a little bit more time off after, they may take the first setback. But if you had to name three things that you took from that Canelo fight that you think are going to make you or already has made you a better fighter, better man, what would they be?
Um, I'll say experience,
Hmm.
number one, which is I feel like is the most important thing at that level. Getting that experience. Grit. You know, grit in the sense that having that flash lockdown in the third round. Getting back up and fighting him toe to toe, basically from round one to round 12. I ain't run, I ain't move around, I wasn't running from him. I stood right there in front of his face. You know, I put my, everything on my back, and I was talking crap to him. I'm saying, in the ring too. I know you seen that. In Spanish, I was literally talking shit. Like, sorry, I could curse on.
Man, do your thing, bro.
Oh, I was talking, my fault. I was talking shit to him in the
Yeah.
ring, literally from round one to round 12, like talking shit to him. Like
Yeah.
nobody's ever done that. I
Hmm.
maybe Floyd, because Floyd
Yeah.
always talk shit to somebody in the ring, but
Hmm.
other than nobody spoke shit to him. I wasn't in his face talking shit, so I say experience, grit, and um experience meaning that when I say experience is throughout the whole build up for the fight. Just everything, experiencing that right there is just everything what a fighter needs, to go to that next level. Great. And then IQ.
Yeah.
I think my IQ is like on another level now. Being in there with him. I'm not gonna lie, Canelo's a smart fighter. And there's a reason why he's at that level. It's not no fake. It's nothing fake about it. Or he's gotten, what I'm saying? He's
Yeah.
sugarcoated or whatnot. Canelo is that guy, and he's a very smart fighter.
Yeah. Yeah. I think watching it, one of the things I felt like I was most impressed with was I was like, he is Edgar is legit tough. I was like, because there was shots that like you got, like you said, you got up off the canvas, didn't change your style, you stayed there in the pocket, even though you had taken that shot. And um, I felt like you fought to win the whole fight, which I felt is, we saw, we've seen other fights with Canelo, and it didn't look
Of
like the
course.
fought,
Look when he
fought
fought Plant. Look when
yeah.
he fought Plant. He had Plant running around that ring. Look when he fought Billy Joe Saunders. He fucking broke Billy Joe Saunders. Had that dude running around the ring. When he fought Callum Smith, made him quit.
Mhm.
When he fought
Yeah.
Kovalov, made him quit, knocked him out. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys, he was just knocking these guys out. Boom. And these guys are legends. Like these guys are gonna go down. They
Yeah.
big in the sport of boxing, you know what I'm saying? And you got a guy like me that, I'm the future of the sport, but they people slept on me and they thought, oh, this guy's gonna get, it's gonna be a cakewalk, and nah, hell no, you know what I'm saying? Like my down there, I got cojones, like it's real big, and I got this, and I got this, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm not scared of nobody, man. Like, we from the east, where you from? You from
Yeah.
you like Philly?
No, I'm from Chicago. I just like to match
Oh,
my
you
color.
from Chicago is different, bro. You know what I'm saying? You talk about Chicago, Philly, you got the hat on, New
Yeah,
York,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
rough and tough, man. So, where we grew up, you know how it is,
yeah,
we're not scared of
yeah,
nobody, man. Like they could
yeah,
motherfucker put a giant in front of me,
yeah,
10 feet tall, you know what I'm saying, with muscles on his back. And it's like, I don't give a fuck, as long as I got this that's here and I got down there that's and I got God, I'm good, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I gotta ask you about somebody I know you're familiar with. I've seen y'all interact together. Xander Zayas, big favorite of ours on this channel. I've known Xander probably since he was 16 years old. I think one of the brightest young stars in boxing. I know, like I said, I know you guys are cool. What are your thoughts on his career and next steps? Because we met. Yeah, I know you don't remember. It was a long time. It was a while ago. I think it was. I don't know if it was a Steve Rose fight. I can't remember what it was, but Xander was cutting weight. You came in, gave him dap, showed love to him because he was fighting at this on the same card. And so I know y'all are cool. So what's your thoughts on his career and like next steps?
I think he got a bright, bright, bright future. He's at 154. You got the heavy hitters, and you see he's not scared. He's going out there. That boy, he calling out the biggest names at 154 right now. So it's good. It's a good thing that he's going out there and he want to show his mark. He's young, but he's showing these guys like, listen, like I'm here. And
Yeah,
that's a great thing. What I'm saying? I feel like right now, there's a couple of Puerto Rican guys, that's out right now that's smashing, that's hitting the game hard, and I want to give my flowers to everybody. What
yeah,
I'm saying? I feel like all the fighters, Xander, Amanda Serrano,
hmm,
Subier Matias, Oscar Callazo,
yeah,
a whole bunch, man. Young guy that just got signed with Top Rank. There's
hmm,
a lot of great talent coming from the small island Puerto Rico. So, I'm excited, man. And I just wish nothing but the best for those guys. What I'm saying? At the end of the day, we all got the same blood, what I'm saying, the same roots, so it's never, anything bad, to my people. What I'm saying? I
yeah.
always want everybody to win and do their thing and become stars in the sport.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. Like I gotta ask you this too. This past weekend I was actually as in Brooklyn for the Gervonta Davis Lamar Roach fight. And I saw, you went on social media, let your voice be heard. I want to know your opinion of the fight. And also, like, so I'm gonna compound this because I know this is the last question I got for you. I also want to know your thoughts on Canelo-Crawford. So, but the first Javante
But
Roach.
now, yeah, people just think like, oh, like Edgar's just going off, just like if I'm like probably like hating or some shit. I'm not a hater, man, like at all. Listen, I don't hate on nobody. It's a reason why I got this far in my career.
Yeah.
And I fought my last fight a legend, and it was like a double win. But like anyway, I got like that. First, I want to touch on that too, because it's like, first of all, Lamont been in camp with me. Lamont been in training with me for like 3 months, 2 months, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So he's been in the gym with me. I've been seeing that kid every day in the gym. In my gym, he did camp. So I seen him every day in the gym, literally every day. Like when he's about to start finishing up or about to
Hmm.
start, I'm walking into the gym about to start my shit,
Hmm.
and I seen how he worked, and Roach is a humble guy, man. Like, yo, that dude is so humble, man. Like, I was like, yo, man, I wish you none but the best, champ. Like, what I'm saying? Like, I was just talking to him, like, yo, bro, like, you deserve everything, man. What I'm saying? You so humble, bro, and you work hard in that gym. What I'm saying? And you go out there and he's in the gym and he's saying hello to everybody in the gym. You got fighters that, come into the gym and they just go about their day. What I'm saying? They go in the gym and they just get to work. This guy says bye to everybody. He says hello to everybody. I see how he is with everybody in the gym, and he's humble, man. So, I'm happy for him. Um, I do think he pulled off the win. What I'm saying? I think that Tank felt the heat. What I'm
Hmm.
saying? He felt that fire, which I always knew Tank since he was a young boy in the amateurs. You know what I'm saying? And all it takes is that one guy, you know what I'm saying? That all it takes is for is that one guy that could take his punch, you know what I'm saying, and that's not gonna let him land nothing crazy. You know what I'm saying? And they're gonna win, you know, because they're gonna stay busier than him. You know what I'm saying? You know how he fights, you know, he's not
Yeah.
busy at all. You know, he
No.
depends on his power, and he's a master at that, you know what I'm saying? Where if he catch you sleeping, he gonna put you out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna lie, Tank got the NyQuil. Like Tank hit hard.
Yeah.
That boy touch you, he going out. You
Yeah.
know, so but like I said, you know that don't last in boxing. Look
Hmm.
at the greats, man. Look at Floyd. Look at and I'm talking about his weight. Manny Pacquiao, Miguel Cotto, that was 135, 140. You know, Shane Mosley, you know, Marquez. You know, these guys, they wasn't fighting like that. You know, there's a reason why they became legends in the sport. You know what I'm saying? It's about so much that you could do that for a certain amount of fights.
Hmm.
But when you got a guy that could take a punch, boom, and tell you, let's go. We got the fight here now. The fight
Hmm.
is here. And grab your balls and put that shit on your back, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
get it on.
Hmm.
It's different, you know, and I feel like he started panicking, you know, the shit
Hmm.
with the grease in his eye, you know, he taking a knee. I feel like that was all bullshit. You know what I'm saying? If you got real grease in your eye, you seen Amanda Serrano, she had grease in her eye, she couldn't fight. You know
Yep.
what I'm
I
saying?
was
Like
there. I was in Puerto Rico that day. Yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Then the wiping fake wiping the grease off. You know, you got grease in your eye. You know, you gonna be there trying to take that shit out. You know, so I feel like the heat was getting to him. I think that Lamont he didn't expect that from Lamont. You know, I thought he felt like it was gonna be a cakewalk for him with Lamont. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Lamont took his best shots and gave it to him. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully they could run it back. You know, and it's a good thing for Lamont because Lamont, remember Lamont too grew up with me in the amateurs. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Team No Excuse. So I remember them, you know, and Lamont was a outstanding amateur. You know, he has a crazy amateur background, you know, so it's not like he's a fighter that just came into the sport a couple years ago. He's been boxing since he was a kid, man, since he was seven,
Yeah.
8 years old. You know,
Hmm.
so Lamont is a he's a veteran in the sport. You know, he's a young bull. So um I think it was good for the it was actually good too, that fight for the culture, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you know, taking my hat off to Tank and to Roach, you know what I'm saying? They broke another record at the Barclays Center, you know what I'm
Hmm.
saying, in Brooklyn. So you gotta get the flowers when flowers is due at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? Tank is a guy that's drawing numbers into the sport, so there's no hate over here on that too, you know what I'm saying? He's putting up the numbers, so that's when you gotta give him
Yeah.
that, you know what I'm saying? He's putting up those numbers at the end of the day, so there's no hate. You feel
Yeah.
me? He's
Yeah.
doing his thing and he's doing something good for the sport. You know what I'm saying? Now that I put that video out, when I posted up that video, now that I'm seeing all the backlash on him, for real, I'm like, damn, like all right, that shit no more. Like, all right, nah, all right, like people taking it too far. You feel me?
Yeah.
'Cause at the end of the day, like we all human. You feel
Hmm.
me? At the end of the day, we all got a heart. We all got kids we got to go home to. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And we find our own demons every day. So when me, I'm like, damn, I'm like, dang, he getting too much hate now. And like, nah, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like with me, I'm done. You feel me? Like I did that
Yeah.
video. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm finished with that. You know what I'm saying? Because already everybody's already wilding. You feel me? Like let the
Yeah.
guys. That's it. The fight is over. You know what I'm saying? Let them do the rematch, and we see from there. And then touching base on that Canelo and Terrence fight. I think it's gonna be a good fight. If they do fight, I think that Crawford is crazy. I think he's a little bugged out. You know, he going up in weight, 168. He was 147. He went 154 one fight, and then jumped. Now he's jumping up to 168. He a little crazy, but he want to be great. You know what I'm saying? He
Hmm.
want to be great. He want to test greatness. You know what I'm saying? And you got to give him his flowers too. Not a lot of guys could do that. You know what I'm saying? You had a
Yeah.
guy like Charlo, the little Charlo that was 154 for Canelo and ran the whole fight. You talking about an undisputed champ
Yeah.
that fought Canelo and ran the whole fight. And then after the fight said that he is hard, that he didn't want to get hit, that he was like basically scared to get hit by him. So um I know for a fact with Crawford is not one of those. I know it's not a money grab for him. I know he gonna go out there and try to step on Canelo.
Yeah.
But it's not gonna be an easy fight. Canelo's a much bigger guy. You know, Canelo does has pop, you know what I'm saying? I've been in there with him, I feel his power, so he does has power. But yeah, man, like I always say, man, it's good for the culture, man. It's good for boxing. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I appreciate it, man, for sure. Appreciate the time, appreciate the candor. Uh, it's dope when you talk to somebody and they're the same person on the video as they are in the interview and in person. I appreciate that for
Yeah, for
sure.
sure.
Yep, yep, yep. All right, brother. Appreciate it.